This is Jim Walters, Walters War Wagons. I understand that Sandy Hook was a horrible thing that happened, and you know, you have to feel for these children and their families, and it tears your heart out to see something like that happen. You know, Uvalde, Texas. You know, I can't imagine how it would be to have your children murdered by some coward like this. And you know, you feel for the families, and you pray for them to get through this. And you know, it's horrible. That's the only thing I can say. It's horrible. My career was in law enforcement, and I've been through the active shooter training, and fortunately, I never had to deal with it. And I can't imagine how the first responders feel about having to go through that. The reason for this video today is YouTube has been airing a number of videos that are titled Parents of Sandy Hook, and they're talking about the Sandy Hook shooting. There's no reason for people to say that I shouldn't be able to own the firearms that I own because of these cowards that have no more guts than to go to a elementary school where there's absolutely no chance that they're going to meet resistance and kill little tiny innocent people. You know, there's absolutely no connection between me, the property that I own. I've been in the NRA. I've been a lifelong member of the NRA. I'm a firearms instructor in law enforcement, firearms instructor in home defense. I'm a firearms instructor in shotguns, handguns, rifles for the general public. And that's all NRA certification. That's what the NRA is about. Listening to the news media talking about something that they obviously have very little knowledge about, the NRA. They make them sound like a group of fanatics that are banging drums and telling people to go out and buy a certain kind of gun or, something like that. Well, that's not the NRA. It's not the NRA that I know. It's not the NRA that I'm a part of. The NRA that I'm a part of, the NRA that I know, the NRA that I've lived with all my life, is a pool of knowledgeable people whose purpose is to train anybody that wants training. It doesn't matter who you are. And the idea is safety of, with firearms. I wonder about these, demons that go out and shoot people up. I don't care if it's a school. I don't care if it's gangsters shooting at each other. I don't care who it is. if you're going to do something like that, you're pure evil. And people like that, you know, I'm pretty certain aren't NRA members, you know. And there's probably no connection. They're not active members. They may have an ID card that says they're an NRA member, but I even doubt that. I really do. But, you know, I kind of got off track there. The purpose of this video, I've been trying to build myself a shop where I could come out here and work in my shop and maybe view some or videotape some stuff. I'm not real great at it because I haven't been doing it very long. But I planned on learning. I really did. And I planned on sharing all of the stuff that I do with the YouTube community. I've been watching all these guys that Summers and Keith Rutger and a number of guys out there that I've been following. Let's Dig Dirt or Dirt Perfect. Watch Wes work. I've been watching all these videos. I've been enjoying them, and I've been kind of planning on getting in line with this. I unfortunately don't have a lot of money, so it's taken me a lot of time to do stuff. I've still got a dirt floor in my shop. I don't have electricity out here except for extension cords. But one day I planned on getting there. But following this Uvalde shooting and I'm being hammered by videos about the Sandy Hook parents. Well, I feel for those people, I really do. And I pray that they can get through this and come through it all right. But there's no reason for them to attack me and people like me. I do get pleasure out of shooting my guns, and I don't harm anybody when I do it. I do it in a safe manner. And it doesn't matter what kind of gun I have. It doesn't matter if, when I worked for one of the sheriff's departments, I was issued a Thompson submachine gun. That was the coolest gun I ever fired. I mean, it went through 45 caliber ammunition in a heartbeat. But I enjoyed it. I really did. When I was working for another police department, or sheriff's office, I was able to fire an M16. Loved it. I enjoyed it. I don't have any desire to own one because those go through ammunition in a heartbeat. But if I did want to own one, that's my business. I have to go through I have to buy a special permit in order for me to own an M16 or a Thompson Contender. I can't just go out and buy it like the media says. It doesn't happen that way. The only guns that I could own are semi-automatic replicas of an M16 or a Thompson submachine gun, but they're semi-automatic rifles. They're not full auto. And this kid in Uvalde, there should have been a flag when, well, I don't know, but I'm under the impression that he was, somebody made a complaint with him a year ago or something, and something about threats. But I do see that on the social media, he did make some open threats. And how in the world, my understanding is that kid did not own a gun until just a few weeks ago or something like that. And he had 100 magazines. A person buys 100 magazines and that doesn't raise a flag. There again, if it was me buying 100 magazines, as far as I'm concerned, it's nobody's business but mine. But I don't know. What's the answer? I have no clue. I do know that, a common denominator from the Columbine shooting. I lived in Colorado when the Columbine shooting occurred, and when that happened, you know, these kids stole a van from a family member, and if I remember right, they stole the weapons that they used at Columbine. But the point that I was getting to is these kids and nearly every one of them talk. The other kids that talk about them, that describe the shooters and what they know of them. They're usually a loner who's been bullied through probably several years of school, and somehow, for some reason, snap. Maybe that's what we ought to look at. Maybe that's what we ought to pay attention to. I mean, I know there's a lot of stuff about bullying on TV and but maybe that's where we ought to turn. Don't focus on the law-abiding citizens of the United States who legally own firearms, whatever the type they are, who's never threatened anybody, never harmed anybody. You're talking about my Second Amendment right. You're talking about coming to my house and taking my property for no cause. Absolutely no cause. The Second Amendment is there to protect people. It's there to protect us from a government, is a tyrannic government, basically. That's what it's there for. And it doesn't say in there any particular type of firearm I should be able to own. People say, well, it's outdated, it needs to be updated. Why? The Constitution is such a basic piece of paper that gives everybody a basic right. It doesn't matter how things progress. It doesn't matter that I'm talking to you here. I'm using my cell phone to videotape this. It doesn't matter that I'm sitting here talking to you on a cell phone. My First Amendment right gives me the right to free speech. Second Amendment right gives me the right to own and bear arms. It doesn't limit me on what I can do or what type of arm I could use. But, I understand, okay, full automatics, yeah, I'll go with that one, But anyway, I digress. The reason for this video is I've decided that maybe I ought to just take my Second Amendment rights, I ought to take my firearms that I own, and I'll take the machinery that I plan on rebuilding and the shop that I plan on fixing up here. I'll take all these things and I'll keep them to myself. I'm going to, I guess, give up the idea of being a YouTube creator. If YouTube can't respect my Second Amendment right and shower me with anti-firearm ads that tear your heart out because they're walking on the graves of these little babies to get their point across, to get their agenda moved along, and I simply can't stand for that. It's probably the only time you'll see me face to face to a camera on here. Unfortunately, it's going to be the last time. Y'all have a wonderful life. I really enjoy watching your videos. I probably won't do it no more, though. Your advertisers and everybody, you know, I'm looking at I was trying to figure out how I was going to get me one of those American phase converter things and several other things that I've seen on YouTube that just really looked like something I wanted. Not anymore. Not anymore. Y'all have a great life.